Yeah, there's finally room in the shop for me to work on that thing. Yep. It's been sitting here for about 4 months. The last time I drove it was on New Year's Day for Andy's sleigh day. Yeah, I got my tech sticker right there. Yeah, after that I just basically pulled it into the spot. Haven't touched it. There's still even, let me see, there's probably still dust from the track. Yeah, still on it. You can see it. I haven't even washed it. But the reason why we have a video today is because I broke that thing. Well, it broke itself. The turbo manifold decided to separate, or the turbo actually decided to separate from the manifold at the track day and blew the gasket. So I basically drove most of the day without any boost, and it wasn't any fun, but I tried to make the best out of that day. So today we're gonna pull this thing out from its current resting spot and put a new gasket on it. So yeah, let's get to it. It's out after so many months of sitting back in that dusty ass corner. Pull it out and do some work to it. But first, let me introduce you guys to my '89 Nissan 240SX. Yeah, this thing's been with me for a while. It's been in our family for about 15 years, I would say. It initially belonged to my brother, and it switched hands between him and I a few times. Over the years, it slowly, well, most of its lifetime with us, it just sat there. And then within the last couple of years, I've been trying to resurrect it so I can start drifting it again. And yeah, first time I actually took it out for a drift event after sitting for about 10 years was the last one, which, as I told you earlier, what happened, turbo separated and blew the gasket. But that's what we're gonna fix today. So yeah, it's quite a little brief introduction. I'll tell you more about it later. If you want to hear more about it, I guess comment, subscribe, give me the request. I'll give you a full introduction on this thing. But for now, we're gonna be just messing with the engine area. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that gap between this and this. Not supposed to be there. Yeah, all the nuts fell off too. So that was my issue, and with a turbocharged car, probably need that there. So we're gonna pull the turbo off and slide a gasket in there. Fortunately, as you can see, if you guys are familiar with SR20s, especially in the US, there's supposed to be a brake booster and steering rack supposed to be there. That's supposed to be in the way. Well, this car is converted to right-hand drive, so I don't have to worry about that stuff. So that's a plus. These are the gaskets I will be putting on the engine. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the brand of this. If you guys know, I'm pretty sure you know. But yeah, the online store that I ordered these from had a pretty decent sale on these, so I picked up a few extra just in case I have more gasket problems. I won't be having more gasket issues since the turbo manifold will be coming off with the turbo. I also picked up a few exhaust manifold gaskets. The one I have on my engine currently is one of those Chinese paper perforated gaskets. As I said on if you watch my last video with the Chinese turbo, there are certain things you can put on that you can get away with that are made from a Chinese place, but this one, I just wanted to try it out. It didn't fail, but it's coming out because this guy has to come out to get to this guy right here. And so I'm changing this turbo gasket. This one's pretty good still. It's the factory one, so I don't think I'm going to have an issue with it tearing or breaking apart. It's like this one right here. It's a solid piece. Unless you put some type of sealant or gasket maker on it, it shouldn't separate. It should come out in one piece. It just, I mean, obviously it's not this one. It's shaped differently because it goes on that one, but the style, I mean the way it's manufactured is pretty similar to the one that's on the back on the exit to the turbo elbow. Yep, let's get to work. Should give you a better view of what we're dealing with. Fortunately, I have a tubular manifold, so it's the bolts are on the top for the manifold are fairly easy to get to, as opposed to having the stock log manifold. The original one, you'd have to like go in from the bottom with an extension and then a swivel, and it just makes it a little more difficult. Yeah, and plus all of this stuff is missing for the brakes and the steering and all of that stuff. That's not in the way, so that's gonna help out a lot. And yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is maybe disconnect the lines, the feed lines. This is the coolant line, and then there's another coolant line in the back, and then there's a turbo oil feed line. You can kind of see it. There's a turbo oil feed line and then a drain line, so that all has to come off. I'll see if I can get to that without having to remove the turbo first. If I do have to remove the turbo first, then I'll remove the turbo first. That would be the plan of attack. So I'm disconnecting one of the lines for the oil. For the one of the water lines for the turbo, and I didn't mention it, but I have one under there right now. Make sure you put a pan under your car, because as you can see, I did not drain my coolant system, which if you want to, you probably could drain it into a clean, a clean bucket or a clean pan and reuse your coolant. Which actually, well, I'm gonna do that right now. I don't want to buy more coolant, so I'm gonna clean up my pan and drain this coolant. Alright guys, first step, drain the coolant. Coolant's draining. Your car might be different. I have a coil on mine. It's an old school coil, so I have a drain plug on the left corner of my car, the radiator. There's a plug, Phillips head. Yeah, this thing's been put on and taken off quite a few times. It's all almost rounded out, kind of, but it still works. So that's my plug. It's draining. Just pop this off. Old school Nismo cap. Oh yeah, now it's pouring. Drain your coolant. Oh, the bag's not working. I didn't feel like cleaning the pan, so I grabbed one of these bags. I stuck it in there and was hoping it would make a barrier. It did kind of work. So I'm gonna let that get out, drain a little bit. I don't have to drain it completely, but the water line for the turbo is pretty low on the block. Yeah, that's it right there. Probably don't have to drain too much. You just don't want water coming out. I just don't want water coming out when I take the turbo off. So that's back on. That should slow that down. Yeah. So if you want to save coolant, drain your coolant. Put it in a clean container or a container with a bag in it, and then put it back in when you're done, so you don't have to buy more coolant. I don't think this car has ever had coolant that's been this green. I've always ran mostly water, but this time I decided to just keep a lot of coolant in there because it spends a lot of its time just sitting there. So I don't want water in the system just sitting in the car and rusting everything out internally. So yeah, that thing's pretty full of coolant. So I have another pan under there. Now that my other pan that I was using is full of coolant, so I'm ready to take off some coolant lines and some oil lines. I'm not draining the oil because I don't expect there to be too much oil in the oil lines. Usually there's oil in there when the car's running, and it's pressurized through the oil pump, which the car hasn't even been on for at least 4 months. So I don't think there should be too much oil in the lines, but we're gonna break these off and get the lines out. So stay tuned. Oh. Look at that big empty space. Let's put a light right there. Turbo's out. So you can see where the lines. You can see where the lines went. This is the water feed line. I plugged it off. I did not drain it enough, so coolant was still coming out, but it's sealed. And then that's the water return line. Most of the lines came off with the turbo right there. We're gonna move this to the bench and then take it apart, put a new gasket. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, you can pretty much see why I didn't have any boost that day. Yeah, bolts came completely off. Off to the bench.